on with this news that came out of nowhere. And it literally was one day they have a meet, from what I can gather, they have a meeting and said they tell the students and the staff that you have, first I heard it was until August. And then it's the end of June, and now it's tomorrow. You on some try and be morally right or whatever. And I'm not saying that morally right stuff that King was talking about. Right. That's different. I'm not talking about that, because ain't no way you putting women and the kids in front of water hoses and police dogs, and they don't give a damn. Excuse me. I'm a teacher, and if I'm not teaching your children, people have a right to come and say, "Hey, look, man, you're not doing what I need you to do for my child." But you have to be involved too, right? So you can't tell me as a parent that you're involved, that you're not doing my child right. And I need y'all to correlate this to what's going on around here as well. You can't tell me I'm not doing your child right if you're not involved in the child's life on all levels. The issue that it is now is blatant in everybody's face. Yeah. It's blatant in everybody's face. So we're not sitting there talking about what can we do for residents. We don't care nothing about the residents.
Never about the residents.
It's never about the residents. And the issue that people are having that I see, and they still won't let me come down to the council meeting. When I'm out of school, I'm just going to go. We out of school in a couple weeks. I'm just going to come to one. I don't care. Good afternoon, family. How's everybody? Let me apologize for my lateness today. I know y'all normally used to your morning cup of bro. This time it's going to be even a cup of Joe. Got the producer with the most, Brother Mickey, who allowed me to be able to come on later. I was at a conference this weekend, and I had my computer, but you know how conferences go. And I'm going to let you all know right now on Tuesday, my youngest daughter, Uncle Mick's niece, is graduating from basic training. So for Tuesday, when we do Conspiracy Tuesday, it may be out of town as well. I will definitely take my computer, and it's going to really be based upon what activities they have there on Family Day or whatever this thing is that they do for people who graduate from the military. I'm not clear. When my nephew graduated from his basic training years ago, it was in Fort Hood, Kentucky. My youngest daughter is in Fort Jackson, which is in South Carolina. So, and my puppy is here. So he's trying to get it, not necessarily get on the show, but he missed his dad. So he's been tearing up everything. So he's trying to get in the picture too. But, you know, so that's the plan for Tuesday. Good evening, family. Good evening. We're glad you all here. Yeah, congratulations. That's still my baby, and I still feel some sort of way, you know, but as long as, like I told her recruiter, I'm just going to say, as long as everything is okay, and no, she doesn't get involved in any craziness, because you got crazy people in the military, just like you got crazy people that are civilians. I'm going to let her be in your hands, but if something goes horribly wrong, I'm coming to see you. And it's not, we're not going to have dinner. We're not having a cup of coffee. We're not having lunch. We're not doing brunch. I ain't buying your cooking. I don't care. Because here I come. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But let's jump into it. Family. We have to be really cognizant and really vigilant about how groups come to ask us to help them. And we can never get any group to support us. Never, ever, ever. They never support us. It's always you call and go to the black folk, and black folks will come running, and they'll help you, and they'll support whatever your situation is, or whatever your grievance is. And yet black folks have been having grievances about stuff in this country for at least 200 years minimally. If we go back to the 1800s, remember one time we already said that the first civil rights bill was passed and then destroyed by the Supreme Court in 1875, right? Supreme Court turns around and changes their mind on the first civil rights bill. And so people have been arguing and complaining and protesting and suing the government and states and everything else ever since 1875. So let me do the math real quick. 1975, that's 100 years. This is 2025. We add another 50. That's 150 years, right? Okay. Thank you, Pastor Gaddis and family, for being on with us. And thank you, everybody else, for being on with us. Go, big boy, go sit down. And we appreciate you for being here. So now, if we're constantly asking, number one, for our place, and this is the same thing James Baldwin said. He said, at what point in time do I no longer have to ask? And I think Brother Malcolm and a few other people said this. Like, if we're going to constantly be told we have to wait, we have to remember the reason why we have to wait is because you have other people negotiating our position in the world and in this country. And those people were not people that were chosen, not necessarily elected, but they were elected through another process. They were chosen as some sort of political leader or some sort of religious leader. And because we like to follow people, because we don't have institutions anymore that help create anything, right? One of our greatest institutions has always been a places of worship. But in those places of worship, what's happened is you typically get docility. You don't get people that go out there and want to change the community like they did before. And I'm not saying it's not everybody, but what we see is this advent of mega churches. And then what people do is they have larger opportunity to take advantage of people that are unknowing. And that's because we don't study. It's even biblically written, and please correct me, Pastor Gaddis, if I'm wrong, and any other people that are Bible scholars more than I am, that my people perish for lack of knowledge. So that means I can give you an apple and tell you it's an orange, and if I tell you it's an orange long enough, you'll believe it, and you'll argue for it. Even Dr. Carter G. Woodson said the same thing. If you tell a black man he can't be somewhere, but you want him, he'll build a back door to the place just to get in because he figures that what you're telling me I can't attain, what you're telling me I cannot attain is great enough for me to build a back door in order for me to be able to go and be in that place anyway. And it could be just an empty room. But you told me that empty room is important. Instead of what we should be doing is investigating its importance and see the reason why we're talking about building a back room to go, a back door to go into that room, which is don't have nothing in it. But what we want to do is we want to run and go and we want to do all the things, as young people say, in order to be able to get some sort of status in this society, which a lot of people don't really care that we're here. And all of these other so-called minority ethnic groups, and they're only minors in the fact that they're a small percentage of the population in this country. But in the world, the larger world, they're a larger percentage of the larger world, especially people of color. What we've done is we've been given scraps and crumbs, and we'll fight over that instead of saying, okay, this is how we need to move. And why are we asking this other group, can we have something when we should do what the Japanese did? What did the Japanese do? Well, I'm so glad you asked. What did they do? They said, well, you interned us during World War II, and we were already Japanese Americans by birthright. And so they formed a cohesive unit and sued the United States government for having been denied the right to live and make a living. So they sued the government and won and got reparations for the time that they were interned in internment camps during World War II. Native Americans did the same thing. That's the reason why you got these so-called Native American-led casinos. And most of them aren't really Native American-led, so let's be clear about that. But why are we always the group of people that people come running to for assistance? But on the other side, we don't recognize, and we can tell that by how we're treated in any store we go to, mostly how we don't get the recognition and or respect that we deserve as people. Well, good afternoon, brother Lewis. Um, that we deserve as people, and we continue to go in the stores, and it doesn't matter what store we go into. Doesn't matter what color's behind the counter. It's all disrespectful. But you know what's even more disrespectful is the fact that we won't take the time and recreate what we've already done in the past. Recreate our own stores. Recreate because if they get disrespectful, then it's okay. But it's okay for you to go into a party store with somebody behind you that don't look like you, get disrespected by how they act towards you, and then we go, oh, it's okay for them to act that way. And we'll be back tomorrow. Hey, man, I don't like how you acted, but I'll be back to go come get my whatever of choice. You fine. You on time. We didn't you straight. We only started 12 minutes ago. You're good. Um, and this is how we operate. We operate on the premise of insanity. We operate on the premise that everybody comes running to us, but we have nobody to run to. Dr. John Henry Clark says we have no friends. What are we not understanding? And they show us all the time that we're willing to kick you in the behind every single time to show you that you're not worth what you think you are. But yet we want to show each other our own self-worth, our worth to each other as brothers and sisters, and that we should be watching out for each other, that we should be taking care of each other. If you start a business, I'm supposed to support it. And if I find something wrong, I need you to be willing to be take the critique enough in order to improve your store because what you're doing is important. It is insane to see the number of parents, and I'm sorry now, this time I'm putting on my teacher hat. It's insane to see the number of parents that will argue with a teacher that looks like them as compared to somebody that don't, because you know better. But yet that teacher all screaming, yelling, and this and that and other, being mean and fussing and all this other stuff to our children, like that's how you're supposed to treat them. I see this time and time again. Parents won't come in and get irate about that. But you also have to understand this: when you drop your child off at that school building, that child does not act the same way that he or she does when they're around you. They act a complete fool. Now they act the same way around you that they act at school. There's something wrong with that picture, and that needs to be corrected. Because it's unfair to not only the child, but it's also unfair to the parent. It's also unfair to the teacher that this is what it is that I got to deal with every single day. And then you did, oh, well, I'm just sending you the best that I got. No, that's unacceptable. You have to operate at a higher level, and that goes across the board. It can't be just we operating at whatever one level all across the board, no matter what, and it's okay. The HIV stuff that we talk about, they have talked about. That's my puppy. That's the HIV stuff that we talk about. That it's okay for somebody to treat me horribly, but oh well, it's also called cognitive dissonance, where I'll be better to my oppressor, even though my oppressor treats me horribly. That's insane. They've studied that relationship in Germany during World War II with the Nazis and the Jews that they had interned. And what they found out was that those people would treat their own people worse, and it also was on the plantation, would treat their own people worse just because that might have given them a little bit of privilege with the Germans until the Germans ended up killing them anyway. But they didn't know. They was trying to do whatever they could in order to save what their life.
Hey, good brother Elliott.
Yes, sir.
I got a video for if you want me to play, because I heard you talking about James Baldwin.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I was back over here looking. Hold on, let me see if you want where it's called. I see it's on the what's the name now. On the I guess this is a clip from, I think they doing on YouTube where I'm getting this from, where it's called I'm
with
Not
Dick
the
Cavett.
Negro. Oh, so you remember this?
Yeah, it was with Dick Cavett and then another author.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, you want me to play this or not?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me play this.
Brother Mark Hutchinson put up something.
Behind the Boston.
Yes.
So I heard only some of it.
Did you hear anything that you disagreed with?
I disagreed with a great deal of it. And, of course, there's a good deal I agree with. But I think he's overlooking one very important matter, I think. Each one of us, I think, is terribly alone. He lives his own individual life. He has all kinds of obstacles in the way of religion or color or size or shape or lack of ability. And the problem is to become a man.
But what I was discussing was not that problem, really. I was discussing the difficulties, the obstacles, the very real danger of death thrown up by the society when a black man attempts to become a man.
All this emphasis upon black man and white does emphasize something which is here, but it emphasizes it or perhaps exaggerates it, and therefore makes us put people together in groups which they ought not to be in. I have more in common with a black scholar than I have with a white man who's against scholarship. And you have more in common with a white author than you have with someone who's against all literature. So why must we always concentrate on color or on religion or this? There are other ways of connecting men.
I'll tell you this. When I left this country in 1948, I left this country for one reason only, one reason. I didn't care where I went. I might have gone to Hong Kong, I might have gone to Timbuktu, I ended up in Paris, on the streets of Paris, with $40 in my pocket on the theory that nothing worse could happen to me there than had already happened to me here. You talk about making it as a writer by yourself. You had to be able then to turn off all the antenna with which you live, because once you turn your back on this society, you may die. You may die. And it's very hard to sit at a typewriter and concentrate on that if you're afraid of the world around you. The years I lived in Paris did one thing for me. They released me from that particular social terror, which was not the paranoia of my own mind, but a real social danger visible in the face of every cop, every boss, everybody. I don't know what most white people in this country feel, but I can only include what they feel from the state of their institutions. I don't know if white Christians hate Negroes or not, but I know that we have a Christian church which is white and a Christian church which is black. I know, as Malcolm X once put it, that the most segregated hour in American life is high noon on Sunday. That says a great deal for me about a Christian nation. It means that I can't afford to trust most white Christians and certainly cannot trust the Christian church. I don't know whether the labor unions and their bosses really hate me. That doesn't matter, but I know I'm not in their unions. I don't know if the real estate lobby is anything against black people, but I know the real estate lobbies keep me in the ghetto. I don't know if the Board of Education hates black people, but I know the textbooks they give my children to read and the schools that we have to go to. Now, this is the evidence. You want me to make an act of faith, risking myself, my wife, my woman, my sister, my children, on some idealism which you assure me exists in America, which I have never seen.
Now, that clip was done in either like 68, 69, or minimally the early 70s, right? So if that clip was done in the early 70s, what has changed? What has changed? What's really changed? We had this BS talking about a colorblind America after Obama got elected president or whatever, and the racism got worse under his administration, and then it's even worse now with this leadership that was chosen to continue to uproot and destroy what he said he was going to uproot and destroy, not only during his first election process, but he said it in 1985, if people, because people don't remember, he said that I was going to destroy the system, given the opportunity if I was running the country, and he's done that. And then he's got to the point where I don't understand what this No King's Day thing was yesterday or whatever it's supposed to be, where people were protesting some stuff. I don't know what it was. So somebody might be able to help me out. I don't know. But at the end of the day, why are we not worried about taking care of us? Right? Why do we have two different types of churches? Well, I'm so glad you asked. When 1802, when Reverend Richard Allen and Reverend Absalom Jones were going to a church, and probably before that, where they lived at in Philadelphia, they were put out. And all the black people were put out of their congregation. So they then decided that they were going to start their own church. That's where the AME church comes in 1802. So it happened, of course, then before that. So even if we look at as much as people talk about how much they dislike masonry or whatever, yeah, the brother that was wanted to be a mason in Philadelphia was a free black man named Prince Hall, and they ended up turning him away because they didn't want him to be there. So he started his own Masonic rites. So this country, as much as the folks want to claim that there's some sort of equality there, no, it's not. Let's be clear, no, it's not. There's no equality here. There's no equality here. Every time we tried to have something equal, it's always been destroyed. I don't even know if people really understand the 5,000 or so people that were lynched. Most of those persons were business owners. They weren't random people. They were business owners. And then they claim that there was always somebody talking to or whistling at or trying to rape a white woman. That made it worse, because don't forget the propaganda that really came out in 1915 was Birth of a Nation. And that really set the stage for how people how European people and they spread this propaganda around the rest of the world, looked at African people, especially from America and any place else. Because you got to have a propaganda machine in order to be able to destroy a group of people. And that's what they've done. So what James Baldwin was talking about to Dick Cavett and the other author was the other. Well, I have the same thing with another author, whether he's black or not. But look at your position. Your position as a published author means you really don't have to work. You straight. You're good. You don't have to do anything. Meanwhile, you can sit there and make insinuations about what's going on in the world that you're not even paying attention to because it's not part of your world.
Hey, Brother Elliott,
go ahead, on big brother.
Not to cut you off. If you want me to put it up, I got it right now. If you kind of see what the No King protest was, I found the clip. That's what I was back here. If you want me to, if not, we can go back.
We can. Yeah, we can do that. But what we have to do, man, is we are lady family. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, well, I'll come back.
I ain't started. I was just setting it up.
Okay. What we have to do is we have to go back to being, and we're already late. The young brother that was talking to those, hey, be quiet. The young brother that was talking to those people after he served 22 years in prison, he's like, look, man, they're giving us the laws against us, and it's becoming more and more against us all the time, and especially young people, because the stigma about young people is you're always up to some no good. Y'all always up to no good, and we support that. We support it by not doing our part to raise young men and young women who can be looked at as productive citizens. And I get it. Shh. Hey, be quiet. I ain't been home, so they fussing over the fact that I haven't been home. This is what that is. So, excuse me about that, you all. But our young people, we have to tighten up. We're not. And we're not teaching this message anywhere. You're not teaching. You're not having people where they have a place, where they have places of worship or places where people gather, or whatever, saying, "Hey, look, I need you to conduct yourself this way." What we do is turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to it, and then turn around and then complain about what happens. I was at a football game for my nephews, and I'm not saying it's me. And I know there's more people than me doing it, right? I know everybody ain't afraid to go talk to young people. There was a young girl there who's getting into conflict with another young girl, and I kept on watching her looking back and this and that and other. So she was looking like she was getting ready to try and plot and plan something to make something pop off, whether it be it didn't look like it was going to be nothing but a fight or whatever. So people should convince her to go ahead on the lead, but she still had this little edgy thing about her. I called the little sister over and I spoke to her like, look, whatever that is, you ain't got to now. Will she turn loose? Probably not, because people get stuck in their head that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hold on to this grudge forever. And eventually I'm going to get my revenge on that person. I don't care if it takes me 200-300 years and 17,000 generations in order to get my revenge back over something that can be settled another way. And when we sit here and talk about how other nationalities act, the way that they act, how other nationalities act, and they're barbaric. No, they're not. But anyway, that's another discussion. But go ahead on, big bro. Let me see what this is about and see if, because hopefully we don't protest. I mean, to partake in it. Hopefully we didn't, but knowing us, we did anyway.
Mike Johnson called it, quote, the Hate America rally. Here in New York City, police say 100,000 people turned out at multiple marches. They report no arrests. There were more than 2,600 events from coast to coast. They are all part of the No Kings movement, which accuses the president of behaving more like a monarch than an elected official. CBS's Elise Preston in Los Angeles leads us off tonight. Elise.
Jerika, thousands have turned up here in downtown Los Angeles to express their fear and frustration with the administration. Their message, no monarchs in America.
I want to be able to tell my future children that I was here, that I stood on the right side of history.
The nationwide rallies are in response to what organizers call an abuse of power by President Trump, including his administration's crackdown on immigration and its threat to send the National Guard into cities, including Chicago and Portland.
The message is no kings. The message is the Constitution of the United States is a wonderful document that matters.
What you think, brother?
Well, see, here's the thing. The Supreme Court and the Senate and the Congress have power, constitutional power to stop that, right? And they're not. So then what does that mean? That means they're along with the power. They're along with the position because they're getting something from it. This goes back to what we talked about before about political action committees and those people who make donations in order to be able to get a benefit from the persons that they elect or have elected.
Right.
So if you really didn't want to have this person think that they were this on this level, or I'm just the dictatorial or whatever, he could have easily been removed from office. And they didn't do anything. So people are walking and marching and this and that and other. Instead of filing lawsuits, they could have filed federal lawsuits. And they could have went to the Supreme Court. They could have went to their congresspersons. And they didn't do that. They just wanted to wear shoes out. Which, you know, if you want to wear out shoes, that's fine.
Well, you know they had a protest here too, right? The No Kings.
No, I missed that.
Yeah. Black Lives Matter was there. You had Kildy was there. You know what I'm saying? They had people there and everything.
Okay. And that's fine. But then, see, y'all must make me say something. I must use it. Ooh, bro, I'm gonna get you. Then you should do the same thing for, as you was walking me right into that one, bro. I got hit upside the head with that fastball.
Well, I waited till I played the video because you was like, I hope they had a big rally here.
Yeah, well, then if that's it, why protest the president and not protest the mayor? Since you decided now to strike it back, that's out of the park. Since you
Right.
throw that fastball back down the middle again.
Because I
Y'all
keep
see how he
telling
be
you,
setting me up? I love him about that. But
I keep telling you, it's a
go ahead.
game. It's a game, brother.
It
It's a game.
is a big. That's the thing is I don't understand what we don't see about all of these people that want to be in these positions that really ain't gonna make a goddamn difference and change shit, right? You're not gonna change anything because you're in it for personal gain. I really don't think we are dealing with Heritage Foundation of big money looking to eliminate the middle class, taking us back 100 years. Poor whites don't get it. Okay. When he came out with that whole thing, Project 2025, right? And I
Right.
haven't read it. Somebody sent me the whole document, 800 some pages.
Right.
But then at that point, when that thing came out, then why didn't people, especially us, say we need to move differently? Were you out there protesting what for what? You're out there, I'm going to walk and I'm going to march and I'm going to do all this other stuff. And you're protesting again for what reason? When you're not
That's
even
why
taking care of your own stuff around your own home and your own community and your neighborhoods.
that's why I say it's a game. Like you just said, how can you can see Trump being a tyrant, but you can't see your own mayor being a tyrant.
And your city council being ineffective and not doing anything. What the hell? I remember the one I went to and they were talking about how they had a tree cut down. Well, I needed a tree cut down. Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of you doing that, let's get together with 5 or 6 people. And if we can't do it, then we put money together to have a tree cutting service come down and cut the tree down. Instead of going to council trying to think you're going to force them to worry about a damn tree. The tree is irrelevant. Mobilize your own stuff and be active and proactive in your community for stuff. I'm giving y'all keys. That's the reason why I'm not saying it for everybody else to say it, and I'm not doing it as well. So just let me be clear. I'm not out here blowing smoke and whatever. But some of these people that lead these organizations are a bunch of BS. And I'm not interested in dealing with that. I'm not. We're going to put together something. It's going to be something that's going to be effective and it's going to build the community and change people's lives. Not sitting out here, and I'm not saying that there aren't organizations out there doing that. There are. Can there be more? Absolutely. Are we willing to do that? No, we're not. Because then that means I got to sacrifice something, and I'm not interested in sacrificing whatever this is. I need to sacrifice because I don't want to. Which means then don't call yourself somebody who's trying to lead people. Because then you're wrong. You're not leading anybody anywhere as long as we already saw what happened when we got led to be integrated. We lost every goddamn thing. Jobs, teachers. We ran our own schools, even with raggedy ass textbooks. Oh my. Okay. Go ahead on. Read that. Put that back up there, big bro. Why you protest for $300,000 for a fully funded grocery store when you didn't protest for May's $20 million for home repair? Case in point. Case in point. Now, if you're talking about Eric Mays, if you're talking about that, now I'm not sure about that. And I'm not really protesting the thing about the $300,000 for the co-op. Because you had both of whatever the situation was, you got plenty of money to have that place open. Plus what other people put in as their own capital, you have plenty of money to put that open. Now, I'm not sure what the $20 million that you talking about Eric Mays and whatever he was doing with that, but hopefully it wasn't just one house. It was everybody in his ward.
No, it was really for the whole city. It was for every ward. He was talking about put the 20 million in there. He really wanted more, but he was like just to take the 20 million for home repair instead of like how they did this little lottery, so-called 9 wards, and what it was gonna come out to like 70 some homes get did in each ward, like a lottery. But as you can see, allegedly you had one councilwoman in the third ward. Let me say it right. Allegedly got her house did, her windows did, and her sidings did. But you know, man, and it's and you picking and choosing who getting this did. Like I still don't get it. How did a council person? She wasn't even on council yet. How she got all the perks and the other people who've been coming down there fighting for it ain't? You know what I'm saying?
So that tells you that there's not a fair and equitable way that there's to be allocation that takes place. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, you got a council person who's talking about the $80 million, 80 million people, 80,000 people that are here, and maybe the 50,000 homes. So if you get 20 million, that's $40,000 a house. That covers everybody's house. And it was not used in the budget. And for you return that back in and do something else with it. That's real simple.
But that's when I say you have the wrong people doing the leading for you. Like that No King protest. Did Flint really need it? Did we need to partake in that? Like I say, sometimes our people be leading us to the wrong situations.
Well, we was led that way back in the 60s too, 50s and 60s. The Big Six and all this other stuff. So, but here's the thing: nobody's trying to lead us to real liberation, which means that we run our communities. That's what Dr. Claude Anderson's been talking about. That's what Malcolm was talking about. That's what Paul Lawrence Dunbar was talking about. That's what all of these men and women were talking about. Even with the Panthers, is like we want to control our own communities and our own destiny, and they don't want that to happen because guess what? You don't have the NFL and NBA and all these other entities that make money off our people the way that they do anymore. You don't have that. So now you got a league that's by blacks run. So what do we talk about? You're the one that mentioned all the time the Negro League Baseball.
Facts.
That got to be all because they saw an opportunity to take advantage of the talent in the Negro leagues and did so. And we ended up losing a major piece of entertainment that was in our community that we were in charge of.
You see how you broke that down with that 20 million, 40 million could have did?
Yeah, man, $40,000 a house. You got 50,000 houses, and you just do whatever is necessary for every house. And then whatever is left over after the budget, you return it to the coffers and you spend it on whatever. And who would care? I wouldn't give a damn if I got $30,000 of some extra work in my home just because the city saw fit to do it, and I'm a good citizen, paid taxes and this and that and other, whatever, and you spent 30,000 of it, and you put 10 back in your pocket. What the fuck would I care? I wouldn't.
See, that was the point that I was saying. Now you see how you can be played like a fiddle.
It's because people are ignorant. And we love to be ignorant, and we love to be comfortable in our oppression.
Yeah, Brother Roberts always say that.
We love to be comfortable in our oppression all the time. As long as we're comfortable and I can have my crab boils and I can go to eat over here and knock that out. No problem. But take care of your damn community. Take care of your home. Make sure all is well with where you live at. And we're not doing that because we're so used to whining and complaining about what somebody else got, that we're not focused on our own stuff.
Right, because I'm like, it do messes me up when I do see millionaires. Like, how do we get caught up into this no king protest? Do they understand, like you just said, them people up in there, like Mark Hutchinson said, we battling with the Heritage Foundation. Did the Democrats didn't put nothing in office? They don't have no think tanks or nothing. They don't have no people on their side.
I'm sorry, my fault. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, because I'm gonna find another video for you and show you why the Democrats have a problem.
Come from grassroots. Think tanks don't. The only thing that those persons are doing is making sure that they putting systems and shit in place in order to keep us confused and disoriented. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was a think tank about how to uplift the community. Universal Negro Improvement Association was a think tank for how to uplift the community. And they were both sold out by people on the inside and people on the outside who said this was dangerous for this to happen with this group of people. J. Edgar Hoover was the one that said that. And he said that about the Honorable Marcus Garvey early in his career. That's how he was able to move up and become the director. He started out as a field general or whatever, a field operator like everybody else. And then he ends up becoming a director because he was very clear about the threat that we cause the world when only thing we want is to have equality and equal opportunity. Nobody said we wanted revenge. I'm going to say this again. 5,000 lynchings or more. And even the ones that have been happening recently, they're all black folks. We ain't jumping off trees with it. I'm not saying we don't have mental illness. And part of that, even that, is because people are not studying who they are and they want to be somebody else. So therefore, they're mentally ill. I want that to sink in. Understand that. The reason why we have to suffer with mental illness is because we desire to be something that we're not. Because we're afraid of who we're supposed to be. And as long as we continue to be afraid of who we're supposed to be, we're going to continue to suffer. Oh, I have mental illness. I have that. You don't have no, you just motherfucking crazy because you want to be some shit that you're not. And we can see that with all of the stuff that we change in order to change ourselves in order to look like something we're not, that we're not. You can't, how the hell, what did Robert Mugabe say before he passed away? God made women perfect, but she'll shave her hair off because she don't like her hair. And she'll put a wig on and she'll put extensions in. She'll shave her eyebrows and they're perfect. And then she'll draw them on differently to make her look like somebody else. And she'll go to the surgeon and get bigger breasts and a bigger behind because she's not satisfied with the perfection of who she is. Men too. I'm not saying women and just different. I'm going by what he said. But and then as men, he said, how in the world are you gonna have improved perfection when they don't like how perfect they are? We're the same way. We're the same. We're the same way. A car is my status. Not me as a learned man. That's my status, even if I ride a bike or not, or whatever, however I do. But if you see my car, then maybe that'll get your attention. That's peacock stuff.
No, I man, listen, you over here talking. This one, I just got a video for you. And this just to show you where like the mind state, like what you talking about. I'm not saying the other side is no better than this. Let me clear that up first. But it's just
what we can't understand about the other side is right. The other side, though, absolutely no better. Absolutely no better. They have the power and the propaganda to continue to make sure that people understand, right? That we set the standard. How in the hell can you set the standard for anything and you have not been the oldest group of people on the planet? We are. We're the oldest group of people on the planet. Our DNA, this melanin, all of that stuff shows that we're the oldest group of people on the planet. So how in the world are you going to look at a new kid on the block and think that they set a standard? They can't. They don't have it. They don't know how to. They've done nothing but destroy shit. Death and destruction. Destroy other cultures, destroy people, all of that. 100 million Native Americans, now you probably got 50 or 60, maybe 100,000, and they suffer with alcoholism and die early, all because they've lost their way of life due to a group of people who came over here and said, we want to take the land. And we wanted to, even in our community, diabetes and this and that and other, and all this other stuff. And then their excuse is, well, when y'all were slaves, you worked harder, and therefore that's bullshit. All that other crazy shit that we deal with comes from fucking stress because we were constantly looking at police cars and we fighting each other and all this other insanity that we shouldn't that shouldn't even be part of our makeup. But it is because we've been around people that don't do nothing but show you that war's world. That's it.
No, I agree with what you're saying. But this is why I think, like, with the voting, because I was gonna pull up the one guy, but I'm gonna hold that for Conspiracy Tuesday when he's breaking it down. But because I took this from Jimmy Dore, this the clip, because I thought I might have just sent you this one, but let me know what you think about this one right here. This is why I be thinking, like, why we be stuck in the situation we be stuck in, what be going on. But now these is our Democrats. I took this from his page just to let you see something. Oh, hold on. Hold on 1 second. I gotta bring it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I ain't even bring it up. I got you right now.
Perfect example of why I came to hate Democrats, because I was a Democrat all my life until they cheated Bernie Sanders, and then they lied about everything about it. And then they lied about Russiagate. They lied about Syria. They lied about Ukraine. They lied about COVID. They lied about getting us health care. They lied about everything. They lied about Joe Biden being demented. They lied about everything. But here, watch this. Here's the gutless Democrats. This is Cory Booker, who I bet is going to run for president.
What is this soy jack face he's making? This should be a meme.
This should be. Let's listen to what he has to say, and why this is a perfect example of why people hate Democrats.
Do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu?
It's a simple yes or no question. Do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? Let's see what he says.
Think he's a war criminal?
I again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot. My urgency is to be an effective leader in bringing an end to this crisis.
His urgency? It looks like Cory Booker isn't telling the story. He's just thinking now of the humiliation ritual his superiors will put him through to punish him for saying yes at the end of this clip. Let's watch.
I bet it's going to include a hot load, Jimmy.
And I get these questions all the time that, to me, undermine my urgency.
I think the thing that Democrats get so frustrated with, where we are right now, where you see like the Zoran Mamdanis and the Graham Plattners rise up, because they can go on podcasts and you can say, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? And they just say yes. And that's the end of it. It's not all of the rhetoric answering. It's like what happens to Democratic politicians, they go through this like prism, and then we can't ever get like the answer to yes or no conversations like you do with Bernie and others. And that's the frustration for the Democratic
Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't the question.
I didn't ask that.
Again, won't answer the question.
Do I think he's worse than Trump? Yes. I mean, she's so gently, because
Brother Elliott, what you think?
Okay, so once again, the most famous thing that Mr. Booker was given props about was being able to talk for 25 hours straight. But what accomplishments came from him running his mouth for 25 hours? Nothing. Okay. Once again, and I'm gonna keep on saying this. We got to get a shirt made for it too. If I had to find somebody talking about making a shirt. Left wing, right wing, same bird.
Right.
Whether it be Democratic Party, who has always sold the black people out since 1965, when Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. Civil Rights Act and the Voters' Rights Act in 1964. And then from there, I think I got my dates right. And then from there, he said, which is the reason why he didn't run for a second term, is we have effectively given our right and our vote over to the Southern Democrats, Southern Dixie Democrats. So neither party has been for anybody other than what they can use them.
Right.
That's the reason why we're going to see coming up soon, right? People going to start knocking on church doors, and church folk going to start to be being told that you got to go ahead on and vote for this person because I believe in them, and you can't ask any questions of the people that's coming in and talk and all that other stuff and everything else. And then the pastor's going to force you to vote for whoever is supporting the pastor. And so and you can't ask any questions, and let alone intelligent questions, because most of the time we don't even have an idea what kind of questions that we can ask.
Right. and that's why I think Cory Booker, he was looking shook, because podcasting is different than your regular news, because as you see, they're not going to ask you certain questions like that.
Right.
See, he was jammed. That's what he's like this the litmus test. You know what I'm saying? And they know it's a litmus test. It just, they want to see what you gonna say.
Yeah, right. And
let me see what Mark Hutchins is saying. He said, I hear what y'all saying, but they're coming after Booker, Jeffries, and Jasmine Crockett. But we got to be careful. There are many more powerful legislators than Booker and Crockett who are way worse. You know what Mark Hutchins said? I'm not knocking them. I'm just, just showing where, when you see in the Democratic Party, where you see where the blacks, because we're already looking at you far the blacks over in the Republicans. We don't even give them a time of day. Let's be honest.
Right.
As soon as we hear black and Republican, first thing we're gonna say, he'll sell out. Because 9 times out of 10,
that's the case, right?
A sellout. You know what I'm saying? So reason I wanted to show that is like how with Cory Booker, he do a lot of, and don't get me wrong, and I got nothing but respect for Jasmine Crockett. My only thing is, like with the Democratic Party, we study fighting for different battles that really have nothing to do with us.
Right. That's my point. So if we looked at a couple of things that will benefit us, right? We look at education, healthcare,
right,
fair housing, and equal opportunity. The other part, that very last one, means for me is if the opportunity to do something in this country is not there, go somewhere else. Be prepared to go somewhere else. Right? Period. That's it. Well, you know what? We can't make it happen here the way I want to make it happen. Let me move to another country for a while. And I've heard people do that. That's one. So if you can't make your opportunity here, go somewhere else.
Right.
Now, education. Educate once again. Stop relying on people to give you something that they're not going to give you liberation. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. They're not going to give you the same information and the same tools that allow you to be controlled and them to be free. Who does that? Who would do that? Nobody. Right. That's the answer I was looking for. Silence. because nobody will give you the information that you need in order for you to be free and come from underneath the shackles of the system that they created to continue to keep you so brutalized, socialized, and under the rule and thumb of what they want, because then they still figure they own us.
Facts.
And that's not going to change until we change it.
No, you right on that. That's why I wanted to. I was glad you asked about what was the purpose of the No King. What was it? Parades. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we fighting for the wrong stuff. We should have had that many people out here fighting for the water that ain't fixed here. We should have had that many people out here. I mean, the No King protest. My bad. The protest, not the parade. The No King protest. How you can see Trump as a tyrant or a king, but you can't see your mayor like that? Not just in Flint, in all your places. Just think about how we started watching Dalton, Illinois, what Tiffany Hanger did.
Right.
And they still probably ain't got it all the way together. Because just because you get rid of one, the system always gonna have somebody else they're gonna be able to replace. They will fool you. They've been doing this for 200 years.
Right. So therefore, if once we become clear about that, if we're clear about how the system is built, and that its position is to constantly maintain its position and its power, why are we trying to participate in it? Because it's not going to work for us. It's not supposed to. It's not designed that way.
Right.
But we still want to go, and we're going to vote, and I'm going to run for office, I'm going to do this, I'm going to come in and make some changes. Well, that's fine until they put something in front of you that's going to make you change your mind.
Fact.
Well, Brother Elliott, we are going to give you a six-figure income, and, high six-figure income, and, just as long as we keep your war chest together, just keep your mouth closed.
And
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
The expectation is that I'm going to take that buy-in, which means 99% of the stuff I talk about, man, I'm going to shut up. But yet this corporation, I'm going to tout it as the best thing since sliced bread because I'm getting paid. Well, it's just very difficult for me as a person who questions stuff to understand. Like I said, I'm never going to sit around there and listen to somebody bring in a bunch of dumbass candidates and think I'm gonna be a dumbass and not ask no questions.
No,
and I'm not saying that they were ignorant. They're trying to sell themselves for the opportunity to serve people. I hope, but at least to be there.
I hope we there at when they had these debates coming in 2026, and I hope Flint, the mayor, have to have a debate this time because he ain't been having no debates. I want to, like you said, I want to be able to, just like how Cory Booker, and I'm not trying to get off of what they was talking about, but right. I do wish when people do interview these candidates coming up, hit them with the real questions. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't give them softballs because y'all are friends, because these people will get in these seats and will forget about you, or they might do right by you, but they'll do right by you and let the rest of the people be hurting.
And see, that we should already have enough of that, where people that are elected officials aren't doing their job for the people in the first place. This is the reason why I said what I said about there being a short period of time for people to show you what you're supposed to be doing. I don't care. 30 days. If you don't, then you're out of there. We'll find somebody else. Well, it takes time. Well, no, it don't take that much time in order for us to see that you're putting in the effort to support the reason why we elected you. I'm not clear the reason why every other position in the world gets a pass, but yet teachers, we don't get a goddamn pass. And we don't want dealing with your kids more than fucking parents dealing with their kids. And I'm telling you what I know. But yeah, the pastor get a pass for cheating and all this other bullshit that they do. The city council people get a pass for doing nothing and the mayor get a pass for doing nothing, the president everybody get a goddamn pass but us. And if you're a pedophile priest, your ass get to move to another place where you can be another pedophile.
Got a
I
point
told
there.
you y'all was gonna get y'all afternoon cup of Joe. I wasn't playing. And I'm saying this jokingly. Now, I heard my brother, his price $10 million. You pay me $550 million, I'll shut up and I'll do. No, I'm just joking. I can't because that's not how I'm operating. And he talking trash too. I know that ain't how he operates.
Oh yeah, facts. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
You know, we could joke about it, you know, but that still don't mean, that just means that we got more material, more revenue, and more now we can get more resources to do more stuff. That's all I'm talking about.
Facts, and that's what it's supposed to be. That's why I'm looking at, like, when people looking for 2026, you already know what you're looking at. You know, right. You can't go what you already had.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then you can't be going. I think the city of Flint, to me, they should be looking for new people to come in. You cannot go with the same way the first ward been run. Really, they shouldn't even be looking for the same mayor. If ain't nobody coming in talking about how we finna challenge well, I ain't gonna say challenge, but we gotta go lobby the governor now. Because you see all these people running for governor. The candidate can't even come to Flint if he's saying, and this even for Swanson. Y'all, if you ain't not talking about how we gonna fix this water, why you want to be the governor? That's like even with the Detroit mayor who running for allegedly. If these people running for governor, if y'all not talking about fixing Flint, what's the purpose of having a conversation?
No, all because it sounds good, and we're used to listening to a bunch of BS, so that's what we do. So, you know, it tickles my ears to sit around there and listen to somebody make me feel good, and I'll get to be all warm and fuzzy instead of me being able to go like, well, I need to ask some hard questions about what it is you really truly mean and what it is that you're really going to do. And we don't want to do that, and they don't want to be asked those questions. That's the reason why they have those dumbass forums where you can sit there and listen to these people, but you can't ask them a question. That's their whole, baby, it's called politics. Politics. But they've always been liars. This ain't new.
Yeah, but what can
They've
we
been liars
do
since
with that?
That's the reason why they used to call them scallywags and carpetbaggers.
But what we do on this, Brother Elliott, not to cut you off, how do we stop that? Because I remember when my first time seeing you was doing over at Scott School. Remember, you left out. But how do we stop these organizations who gonna be throwing these forums when they bought and paid for it? When they gonna, because remember, they didn't want nobody to say nothing. How do we stop the people who who these organizations who we got to call them organizations out who throwing them forums because they fall up under them friends, brothers, and in-laws?
Right. Well, you have to. They need to be on federal paper. You need to file a lawsuit against those organizations, because if those organizations, it's one thing to say, hey, look, we're going to have a question and answer period with these candidates, right? So we can see where they're coming from, and then you can hold them accountable by asking them questions. And if that's not the case, then you shut them down too. Now, it could have been a neighborhood association that did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we live at over there for the one that we're talking about,
Evergreen.
where we met with Evergreen Estates and Evergreen Valley. It could have been some neighborhood association that decided to do that.
No, that's what
I know
both
the people, and they work for one works for Beecher Schools and one works for, does Lance work for Beecher Schools? But anyway, and I know the one sister there that was trying to shush me, and she better be glad that I was still being professional and some respect for her, because I had some other words for you trying to shush me in some places you don't, whether you live here or not. Who the hell is you telling me to be quiet?
Facts. Yeah, facts. She was, yeah. But no, that was an organization, Brother Elliott. That's what I was trying to tell you. It was, I forgot, it was Evergreen something. I forgot what it was, but I know it was Evergreen something who threw it. That's why I was like, damn, y'all was just biased as hell.
Right. So if that's what you're choosing to do, and you're submitting applicants based upon what it is that you feel that you're trying to do and what you're trying to institute, they don't need to be there. They need to no longer exist. Things no longer exist. You shut them down. Why? Well, you go and freaking file a lawsuit for it to be investigated.
Yeah, because I didn't like it neither when how they did Jan Marie, where you couldn't but you even called him out, and then you had what was that Dylan Luna? He was trying to see, to me it was too many hands was in the pot, and that's why I'ma still keep saying this. Flint, I don't believe Flint gonna get a fair election because to me the clerk office is tainted,
right?
And you know, and it's like,
excuse me.
Yeah, when the clerk office is tainted, like you don't have a fair chance.
Right.
We can end it, bro. For you can go ahead if you got any last things you want to say. I don't want to hold you up. This is Sunday.
Well, number one, I appreciate you taking time out of your day so we can get this nice, heavy black coffee into people and get them pumping. People, start to use your brain. Start to think. Pay attention to the signs and symbols. Pay attention to how people are operating and moving. If they're not doing anything in your best interest, whether it be a teacher, in the best interest of you and your children, whether it be whether it be your minister, you know, and people really don't mess with them because they really think that they shut up. They really think that they holy. They are. They're wholly taking their pockets. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. We have to be politically astute. We have to be economically astute, right? I think I saw Brother Mark Hutchinson mention that we spend several over $1 trillion, right? How much money we make, but we don't own anything where we make the money from. So how in the world can we do anything economically to change some things otherwise when we don't own the bank, we don't own the plant, we don't own anything in order for us to be able to say that we can substantiate how much it is that we make. We can show how much we make, but we make it because we work for other people. We don't make it because we work for each other. If we work for each other, we got a whole different deal. Now you can make changes. All of these protests and these people protesting this mess, that's a smoke screen. Because if you really want to have him out of the office, you can have him impeached. He can be impeached. If he's doing things that's against the Constitution, and the Constitution is controlled by corporations, so let's be clear, he can be impeached if they want to do so. If they don't want to do so, then what are you going to do? You got to put pressure on people in order to get them up out of there. But because somebody's making more money and other people are making money, then guess what? They're going to let him stay in there until he does whatever he figured he wants to do and do so. Oh, well, something's going to happen to him. Ain't nothing going to happen to him. People like that, nothing happens to. So we have to do the work that we need to do. We have to make sure that we're politically astute. We have to make sure that we see the connections that other people may have, and they claim that they don't, but they do. You know, we have to see that, and then we have to move accordingly. Because if it's not going to benefit the whole and only benefit a few, that's still oppressive. And if you're comfortable being oppressed, then that's okay for you to be that way. That's fine. Just don't stay in the way of somebody else who who doesn't desire the same thing that you do. That's all I got, big bro.
Okay. Well, I have some stuff set up, and I'll give you a call as soon as I shut it down.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, family. We appreciate y'all spending a little bit of your Sunday afternoon an evening with us, and there's probably a football game on. And, you know, enjoy your family, hug on your family. And we know sometimes family's different, family's crazy, right? Family, everybody's not on the same page. And it's okay for them not to be on the same page. You take care of you and yours. And if they want to come join in because they have an understanding later on, fine. If they don't, that's fine too. There's one of my other brothers One of my brothers says this all the time. He said, you do what you need to do, and whatever happens, you let God sort that out. And that's it.
Facts. Peace.
All right, family. Peace.